Welcome one and all to an efficiency settlement build of Sanctuary Hills. This video, it has been a long time coming. I am your neighborhood friendly Oxhorn, and thank you so much for waiting. You guys have been commenting on my YouTube videos for weeks now saying, Sanctuary Hills, Sanctuary Hills. And well, now is the time. I've been working on it hard every night. It feels like every night. It hasn't been literally every night, but as often as I can to get this done, and so I'm really proud to show it off to you today. So before we begin, the principle behind my efficiency settlement builds is to not build these huge elaborate structures with marble toilets and gold-plated walls and ceilings, but rather to make a functional working settlement where everybody's got a bed, everyone's got a place to eat, and that has optimal scores to prevent raiding and increase settlement happiness. So that's what I've done here. So I'm going to start by giving you a general tour of the entire settlement, starting with this bridge, of course. This is the gateway, and as you can see, my FPS is really low. I have 74 settlers in this particular settlement. So here are my vital stats. And I got these just by using in-game mechanics. I didn't use a mod. I did use the automatron settler quote-unquote exploit to get most of the settlers here. And I have a different video on that, which I will link to in the description and here in the middle of the video. But whenever I get settlers from the automatron quest rogue robots, I send them here to Sanctuary, and that's why I have so many settlers. So I've got 76 food to accommodate my 74 people, 80 water, 125 power to run my 296 defense, and I have plenty of beds at 75. My happiness is 85, and it's going up. So here is the beginning of the settlement, and I have this nice little elevated defense system here, complete with the Minuteman flag and the railroad flag, the two factions that I sided with, and a nice sign welcoming you to Sanctuary Hills. Every single house in this settlement is complete, and I will show them all off one by one, so expect this to be a long video. I lined the road with these wonderful lamp posts from Wasteland Workshop, and making sure that there's plenty of light throughout the entire settlement. Now, this does have 74 different settlers, and my FPS is going to be bad throughout this video, so apologies in advance. But I tried to mitigate the problems that I was going to have with FPS by placing plenty of rest areas scattered throughout. So I've got marketplaces and bars kind of punctuating all of the different houses, and within each house I have a number of scavenging stations that are reskinned to look like other things to keep the settlers busy. So the goal with this was to not keep all of the settlers in one section, because that would have had me running at 1 frame per second, but rather to make sure that the settlers are spread out. They're all over the settlement. They're not congregated in one place. Now, it doesn't always work out that way. Sometimes the settlers will congregate in one place, like they're doing right now, which I don't understand. Let's check this out. What is going on? Why are they doing this? Bethesda, come on, man, really? Alright, I'm not going to meditate on that because I'm just going to get angry. I've done all of this work to try and set everything out so that they're not all in one spot, and there they all are, back there for some reason. So, anyway, not much you can do. There are only so many Bethesda bugs you can clean up, but let's start over here with house number 1. So, the first thing I did with each house in this entire settlement is I repaired the roof. So if you look on up here, you see that there are roof tiles patching the holes on the roof, and I'll hop on top of the roof just so that you can get a better look at it. You see that? I did not use a mod to do that. You're able to do this on consoles. And the reason for that is because, and I showed this off in a different video, but the reason for that is when you try to lay down a roof tile, the roof tile gets pushed up to the top of the roof. You see how the default section is up there? And then you just walk in here and look, I can build more roof tiles on top of my roof tiles. It's blue. in this way, I was able to completely fix every roof for every house in this settlement. And another thing I did is I patched the walls. Some of these houses had worse walls than others. This one wasn't that bad, but where there were holes in the walls, I patched them using just the regular tiles that come with the builder, and I pushed them into place using the precise placement and rotating mod, which I have linked in the description. So moving on inside, and you'll notice a similar theme in all of my settlements is I've got the bedrooms completely outfitted with beds that are filled with decorations on the walls, and I wanted to make it look lived in. I also replaced the fire extinguisher. One of the first things you do, and I know I did, is when you get Sanctuary, you go into every house and you scrap absolutely everything because you have 0 resources, and this is the best way to get resources. So of course I scrapped the fire extinguisher and all of the kitchen equipment and all of that. So in this efficiency build, I had to put it back. So I put the fire extinguisher back. I turned this into a little TV station with a working holotape player.
Look, here is the new Band-Aid plastic strip.
And I've got one of those in each of my settlements. I find that if you have too many TVs with working holotape players in one settlement, that they sometimes get messed up. You'll walk from one house to the next, and a TV will play, and then it'll stop playing. It's kind of glitchy that way, but it does work. Each house has a dining room, and sorry for the texture. Here, let me back up. Yeah, this is just my AMD video card. It does this sometimes. It'll choose some objects in the game and it won't load the texture correctly, but when you get close enough, it works. Food on the table, art on the walls, and here is my efficiency kitchen. A larder in the corner. I replaced all of this. This is actually a dishwashing station, and it does work. The settler will walk by and use it. It's a scavenging station that's been reskinned to look like a dishwasher. And then out here on each of these houses that had a carport, I decided to make a different kind of workshop with a different workbench. So here's the armor bench with some nice containers. And then these fluorescent lights came with Wasteland Workshop, and they work really well in the carport area. Now here's the first of my marketplaces. So in Sanctuary, there are 3 or 4 plots like this with completely destroyed houses on them, and the game lets you scrap the entire house. And instead of rebuilding a house on this structure to just have a whole bunch of houses, I wanted to use this platform for a marketplace. So this is my first marketplace of many in this settlement, and this is simply a bar, and this is where the settlers will come at night and in the morning to pass the time. And I've got a seating area here for eating plenty of food, and in the corner here I have a smoking station where they can smoke their cigars, and a coffee station. Now I hope that the settlers will be kind and show this off, but I used these mats. So these are animation mats that came with the mod, and I'll link to it in the description. And what they do is they work like chairs and other furniture. An unassigned settler who's not busy with anything will walk by, and that settler has a certain amount of chance to use this animation mat. Now with this animation mat comes a certain animation. In this case, it's a drinking coffee animation. Over here, it's a smoking a cigarette animation. Over here is a warming hands by the fire animation, and this one is just a dancing animation. I'm sure some settlers are going to be dancing late at night, but when you exit the workshop, you don't see the mats. So you get the benefit of the settler doing a neat animation where they're supposed to, and you don't see the mats. Spawn point number 2 is down here at the edge of the water. I'm sure you're very familiar with this one. They tend to come up from here. I built this to accommodate for that, but I thought it would have been silly to not have defenses over here by the bridge. Yeah, you don't get attacked from this bridge. I learned that thanks to the settlement software, but I thought it would have looked silly to not have defenses here. So I put them up here for looks, and I've got my guards dutifully manning this bridge. And this is one of my generator rooms. So this settlement has a lot of power needs, and I have a fusion generator down. But before I had that fusion generator down, I built this power station, and I tried to tuck it beneath this bush wall, this shrubbery wall. And this just gives me extra power that pushes me over 100. It's probably in excess, but it's what I need. And I have this lit up with these lamp posts for marketplaces. and these lampposts for the roads. Moving on into house number 2, I completely outfitted it as well. I've got the kitchen in the corner. Each of these houses is laid out really different. So major props to Bethesda. They could have just used the same house texture. I'm sorry, the same house mesh, the same house model for every single house, but they didn't. Each of these is completely different. So decorating each house is a unique challenge, and that makes it a lot of fun. This radiator is a scavenging station, as you can see, with a unique animation, and the same with this purple mat. This purple rug came from Covenant, and I found a mod that allows you to put it down, and it's actually a scavenging station, and you see that the settler does a unique animation when sitting in front of it. Here's a bathroom. So you've seen my mods on, you've seen my other videos that talk about different mods. I have an entire video dedicated to mods used for making awesome bathrooms, and I'm using quite a few different mods to make a bathroom here. But this bathroom has working showers. Hopefully a settler will come by while I'm shooting this video and use one of the showers so you can see how it works. But I decorated each bathroom pretty lavishly, lavishly for a post-apocalyptic wasteland, with stacks of towels and toothbrushes and toothpaste and mirrors and all sorts of stuff. So I had a great time decorating out the bathroom. Each house, most of the houses, come with a utility room, so I tried to decorate the utility rooms with all sorts of doodads laying about. And then I also furnished each room completely different with different wall coverings. Here's an example of a house that was completely blown out. This entire wall was missing. I had to repair that from the outside. And there was a small gap over there. Now, some of them have interior walls that were gone. The bathroom was separated. So I had to place down these wooden walls to seal up the bathroom, to give the settlers some privacy, because, you know, even in a post-apocalyptic wasteland, settlers have to have privacy while taking care of certain functions. Here's house number 3. Outside here, you see this sort of overhang growing on here. It looks kind of grisly, but I actually kind of like it. I've got a weapons workbench here, and just some random workbenches with some clutter and ammunition to make it look good. Back here, I've got some flamingos and some dogs. 2 dogs sharing this doghouse. For some reason, the dogs don't like to always go to their own doghouse. You can see I repaired the walls here. This one had some major wall repairs that needed to be done. Moving on into house number 3, I've got a TV station here with a repaired wall and some art. Yeah, it's art. Smoking station out here, just a nice clutter everywhere. Food on the tables. These guys eat well. They are part of the Minutemen. They've got a stocked larder. Look at all those food and chems and drinks. Oh man, it's looking great. I pushed in some lockers into that corner. I've got a completely built-out bathroom, as all of my houses do. I think this is the only one with a mounted head. There might be one more at the house with the workbench, but that's really the only one. This is the only one where I stacked a shelf on top of a shelf. It's like shelf inception. More shelves on top of shelves. And then the final bedroom is here. This was a really tight spot. I didn't have much room to do anything with it, so I just threw down some sleeping bags, and that was it. I decided to put the sink in this kitchen right here by this window because it reminded me of a story my father used to tell me. He told me about when he was a kid, his mother really enjoyed washing the dishes because there was a bluebird that would fly down right outside her window, and she would look at the bluebird while washing the dishes, and that really lightened up her day. But then, of course, my dad's dad got him a BB gun as a present, and what do little boys do when they get their first BB gun? Well, they shoot the first living thing they see. So my dad runs outside and finds the bluebird and kapow, kills it, and his mom was so upset at him. I remember that story to this day, and I was thinking about that when I'm placing the sink down. I'm like, oh, okay, my settler can look out the window and take a look at the bluebirds. Hopefully nobody shoots them. Now, this is half marketplace, half defense system. So let me show you the marketplace first. Again, I have a bar, and looks like there's a texture problem going on with her shoulders. But I downloaded a retexture of the simple pre-war dress that gives each dress a unique kind of floral texture. So I've got my settlers wearing those. And so this is a typical, I've got a smoking station out and a coffee station. I have each of those at each little marketplace and an eating station, decked out with all sorts of foods and lights. And this is, I'm really proud of this. It's simple, but it's nice. One of the things that I forgot to do in my other settlements was to create a, what's it even called? What's it called? An artillery piece. I failed to create an artillery piece. I'm all about the Minutemen, and I'm so, happy that the Minutemen have won, and they're healing the Commonwealth, and so I want to have one of these at each of my settlements, but you'll notice in my previous videos I forgot to build them. So I'm going to have to go back and build them all, but I built one here, and I created this little platform using the new concrete structures that came with Wasteland Workshop, and I thought that it was perfect for creating an elevated platform for the artillery pieces. As you can see way up here, the guard that I have assigned to this is going to have a clear view of wherever I'm going to have them target, and it's going to be clear of the building so there's no collateral damage. Typically have a guard standing up here, but I'm not sure where she went off to. Moving into house number 3. Well, before that, this, of course, is the path. Yeah, these are the guards. I've got the guards outfitted in the Boston police outfit from the DX's Commonwealth mini dresses, and I've got him in a blue batter's helmet and then some Diamond City epaulets, shoulder pads, which I thought really made the outfit look great. So all of my guards are dressed that way, including the one over there at the artillery piece. So there's the little trail that goes to the vault, and this happens to be a spawn point, and I'll show you that later. So I defended this one mightily with missile turrets, heavy laser turrets, and a guard dog. I've got dozens of dogs in this settlement. I used Wasteland Workshop dog traps to attract all my dogs, and I've got dozens of them here, so you'll see them all over the place. And of course, the final spawn point is down here on the road to the vault. So the 2 roads leading out of Sanctuary, well, not really the first road, it's more like by the water of the first road, and then this road, right in the middle of this road, is where enemies will spawn. And I've got this station set up here with plenty of missile turrets. Not a lot of lighting. I originally had some spotlights, but it looks like they're gone right now. Not sure where I put them. Guess I scrapped them or something. I'll put some spotlights down. But then I also have 2 guard towers, really tall guard towers, so that I've got some settlers to ring the warning bell when we get attacked. Out here in the carport, it's another workshop, this time with a weaponsmith area. On the inside, I of course have another kitchen completely outfitted, and the settlers will use the scavenging station, which is made to look like a dishwashing unit. Not much new to say. I just wanted to make sure that it was all outfitted. I tried to put down rugs where possible, but sometimes there's just dead leaves and garbage that you can't scrap. And in those cases, I just had to put the beds on top of it there. So each of these rooms is going to be a little bit crowded, just because I'm trying to fit so many settlers into this settlement. And that's just the nature of the beast. This is your home. This is the sole survivor's home. This is the home that he or she lived in before the war happened. And so I meticulously reconstructed it based on the way it used to look, even down to the placement of dishes and napkins on the table. If you don't believe me, just go onto YouTube and find a video of somebody playing the intro to Fallout 4, and you'll see that I'm accurate here. I tried to reproduce absolutely everything. Even all of the dishes that are on here, this stack of dishes, I stacked them in precisely the way that they were stacked previously. I figure, this is a little reminder of her home, the home that she left. And the settlers aren't going to know any different. They're going to just think, oh, they really outfitted this well. Instead of a lit fire, I put candles in there because I can't put logs in there. I've got the same Grognak comic. I think it's the same Grognak comic. No, it's not. This is the Cometh the Trickster comic. Well, I couldn't find the same one, but I put a Grognak comic down there. And I even have her Juris Doctor certificate from graduating college. Now, I did put a few things in here that are not the same. These lockers, because they fit this gap perfectly. And there were some places where I just couldn't reproduce what was there before because I just don't have access to it. I even tried to reproduce the paintings that were on the wall, but I came to realize that this painting of a lighthouse is like 5 times bigger than the one that was in the Sole Survivor's house when she started. And the same with that lighthouse picture. It's just really huge. And that sailboat. So this is Sean's room. I put the crib back. I even put the right towel on there. Put the toys in. There's the special book. The original house had a much tinier shelf than this, but I couldn't find a small shelf. So I put down a big shelf and I decorated it exactly as it was with the same placement of the blocks. And this is her old bedroom. Now, my character lives in a completely different settlement, but I still decorated it to look like her old home. I even put, one extra touch is I put her wedding ring, the one that she got from her husband, here. Spoilers, in case you haven't played the game yet. There was a bunch of other stuff in here, including a shelf with clothing, but I couldn't find a way to stack clothing that didn't make it so settlers would knock it off. So the only thing in here I placed was the suitcase. But everything else I tried to match as closely as I could. Now this is the home that we're all familiar with because this is where the workshop is, and this is the home typically that most of us outfit first when we play this settlement, just because it's big and it's roomy, a huge carport area. And out here I decided to do something different. I turned this into my personal little studio slash office space, because when I do come to Sanctuary, which is fairly often, I need a place to check out my management software, and then I just decorated it to look kind of like an office. So here's the settlement management, here's the terminal, and we'll access the settlement management software. And let's mark all attack spawn points. And I'll show those to you after I finish showing off this house. So I put Mama Murphy here. Here's Mama Murphy. She's sitting in her chair. And in the way I played through it, I'm like, you know what? If you want your Kims, here's your Kims. There you go, lady. You want more Kims? There's more Kims. You have the site. Who am I to argue? Do your thing, Mama Murphy. You're old enough anyway. You can make your own decisions. I'm not your mama. You're everyone's mama. You're Mama Murphy. And I placed down a TV in front of her with a holotape player so that she can enjoy her tunes. Here, sorry, Mama. Let's turn that on for you. There you go. Watch a Band-Aid commercial. For some reason, the first one that always plays is the Band-Aid commercial. I don't know how to fix that. But hey, Mama Murphy's smiling. She's happy. She's content. She's got her Kims. She's got her Band-Aid commercials and her corner. She is the only settler in this entire settlement who is not working. And I figure, you know what? After a lifetime that she's had, she's earned the right to just relax in the corner. And I set up the kitchen in here, as I typically do, although this one, I guess I decided to put down a clean dishwashing station instead of the dirty one that I typically do. And then beds on the ground. Oh, this one only has 2 sleeping bags. That's great. That means I have room for more settlers. Yay, I'm going to have to go get more. Oh, and this one only has 2 as well. Hey, what do you know? I completely forgot about it. I guess this was supposed to be a bathroom because there's a mirror in here, and I'm just now realizing that. Maybe I should turn it into a bathroom. Well, it's a bedroom for now, and we'll leave it at... there, I replaced the fire extinguisher. Okay. Also, I did the backyards too. I forgot to tell you, I've got the dog houses in the backyards, and I completely repaired the white picket fences. Now, this is tricky. I realized that the reason Bethesda broke the fences in certain places, and you'll remember this if you go into your own sanctuary and you look around, you'll notice that the fence is completely whole and perfect in most places, and then it's crumpled in a corner. And sure, okay, that could be because it's been 200 years, but it's also because the land is uneven. When trying to repair this, I realized that they very strategically broke the fence in exactly the spot where you can't build a fence because the land is uneven. You see what I did here? You see how it goes up? If I were to build in a straight line, this fence would go right into the earth. So I did have to use my precise object rotating and movement mod in order to position these things in such a way so that it looked like a straight continuation of the fence. But I repaired every single fence for every house here in Sanctuary, and I'm using these water pumps, these powered water pumps, as my primary source of water in this settlement. So let's talk about this marketplace. This is my public market, the major market. I've got this huge sign up there, and I experimented with these raider tents and canopies, which just come with the game. I didn't use a mod for that. And I'm not sure if I like it or not. I thought, I would have loved to have placed a canopy up here so it could be an outdoor marketplace, but there just wasn't anything, and I couldn't find a mod that gave me what I wanted. So I used these Raider ones, and I don't know if I like the look of it, I'll keep them for now, but I'm not terribly thrilled with it. Now, if you watched my video on how to get all of the level 4 merchants in the game, you'll recognize this area. This is my primary marketplace where all my important merchants are. I've got Trader Riley, a level 4 merchant. I've got the Vault Tech Rep, a level 4 merchant. Anne Hargraves, a level 4 merchant. Ron Staples, a level 4 merchant. The Scribe, level 4 merchant. And Doc Anderson and Smiling Larry. So I've got one little marketplace all set out for them, and it just so happens that one of them is a bar, so this will attract settlers at the end of the day, which will hopefully dilute the settler traffic jam that will appear at the end of the day. Before Wasteland came out with a variety of different lights, I tried to invent this little light post structure, which is just a fence post with this little workshop light attached to it. This is the only marketplace that has these because I decided to use the tall light posts, which came with Wasteland Workshop instead. But this one is, that's my third little marketplace. Moving on to, I don't even know what number this is. So here's the next house. Now this is a unique workshop that came with a mod called the Cross Cybernetics Jetpack mod. It allows you to have a jetpack like the one that my character is wearing. And I'll do another mod that talks all about the jetpack, why I'm using it, why I think it's lore friendly, why I think it's not cheating. I'm going to have to convince you on that, I'm sure. But I thought that the lab itself looks really cool, and I set it down just as a workshop here, along with a chest, a filled workbench, and a bunch of other doodads. Another doghouse back there. And of course, I patched the walls, patched the roof, lined it with electricity, and this is a unique house in that instead of having a huge eating area and a kitchen, I turned it into a bar. So 2 or 3 of these houses came with these bars that you can't scrap. So I decided to just go with it. And I not only have liquor everywhere, but I've got a bartender animation mat on the counter. So the mod that I'll link in the description comes with a counter animation mat. So every now and then a settler will come by and then step up to the bar and pretend like she's serving drinks, which is great. Now these are filled shelves. So the way it works is you find the corner where you can activate it. There, almost had it. Where was it? Oh, this is gonna take forever if I can. There. Ah, man, I lost it. Where was it? Man, almost. Oh, it's okay. So it's actually a container, and you can open up the container and fill it with rum and vodka, Nuka-Cola, and Gwinnett Brew. And when you finish, the mod completely fills the shelf for you. It saves you a ton of time and labor in decorating each of these yourself. So I'll have that linked in the description. It's such a cool mod, and it's great for my little bar here. TV station, per usual. This settlement is protected by the Minutemen. Got some filled bookshelves with some nice book skins.
You know what I call a good day? One that ends without an empty stomach.
These are pre-war books, and they're all real books. You'll see in here that you've got some Darwin, you've got some classic novels. All of the bookshelves are like that. Got a shower in here, working shower, completely outfitted. Another tool area with some brooms and stuff. And then just your typical bedroom. Some of the bedrooms have lots of seating. Some of them have desktop work areas. Here's a little lounge area. I noticed that I learned a lot by trying to completely redecorate the Soul Survivor's house the way it used to be. I learned a lot about how Bethesda decorated things, and I tried to incorporate some of those tips because they put a lot of vases everywhere. The Soul Survivor's house has a lot of vases, and so after I decorated that one, you'll notice that I've got I've got vases and flowers in a lot of them because, hey, apparently that's the way to decorate a house. So here's a trading post. So I'm not happy with where it's at, and I've found that if your settlement is really large, if you've got over 30 different people, that you'll tend to attract more than one random roaming trader at a time. And thankfully they're not here right now because you'll have Brahmin stacked upon Brahmin. And so what you need to do is you need to place a whole bunch of these down, like 3, maybe even 4, depending on the size of your settlement. I only have 1 for now, so I'm going to have to fix that later. Alright, got a bit of a traffic jam going in and out here. And this is part of my strategy. I have their workstations in here, and the workstations all look like rugs and sinks and stuff, so that there's constant activity in and out of the houses, which keeps everyone from congregating in one place. I've got some plumbing pipes over here, which is a scavenging station. This chest is a scavenging station. Here's another completed bathroom. I've still got the hovering plants. So this is a mod. I just did a mod showcase where I featured this mod. They made the plants really tiny, very feng shui. You know what? I don't have time to do this now. I'll fix that. They were hovering, but very tiny plants, and I thought those would look great in bathrooms, so I put those in my bathrooms. This is the only house that has these big. Oh, looks like that particular settler. Oh, that means that I've got this thing turned around the wrong way, so I'm gonna have to move this around. There you go. It's the other side, lady. Nope. All right. This is the only one that's got the sort of Minuteman paintings. I didn't want to use them too much. I really like them, but you can't have them in every house. And then this one has a scavenging station made to look like a workbench, like a desk, like a writer's desk. Okay, and then over here I've got the only robot workbench in the shop. It was really hard to find a place to put it. You can kind of see that it clips into the ceiling a little bit, but hey, if I don't show it off in the video, you'll never know, so I won't do that. I've got a nice chemist lab over here for people to create their chems, as well as a chemistry station, schematics on the wall, and another doghouse. And that's right, I was going to show you spawn points. So let me mark the spawn points here. And so here's one spawn point right here. And this is one I actually didn't know a lot about. But I built this elevated missile turret / laser turret tower to take care of that spawn point. And the back here is where I've got my fusion generator right next to another powered water purifier. And then, of course, there's the root cellar. You know, I didn't know about this root cellar until, like, I was over level 75. I came back one day and I was just running around to scrap more stuff to get more materials, and lo and behold, I discovered the root cellar. And this fallen tree that allows you to get up on the roof without a jetpack. I mean, I have a jetpack now, but back then I didn't, and I think there was a duffel bag up here with some loot in it. I think I might have scrapped it. Anyway, I learned all of that late. Over here is my second to last marketplace. It's got 2 bartenders, lots of seating, place to eat, place to smoke, place to drink coffee, and plenty for them to do. Back here I placed the graveyard. So I rebuilt this fenced-in area, and there were 2 shallow graves in this settlement when you find it. And there just so happened to be 2 skeletons in the houses. So I used the Scrap Anything mod to scrap the skeletons, which gave me marble, and I used the marble to build the headstones for this little grave back here. I figure, you know what, these are her old neighbors. She remembers them from a bygone time, and so she's going to honor their memory by placing them in the earth where they belong. I tried to rebuild the fence as best as I could, but there was a section here that I just couldn't do anything about. Look at the bounds of this settlement. It goes right through this fence, and you can't scrap this one. You could scrap that, but I put it there so that this one doesn't look like it's floating. But this one right there, you can't scrap, and you couldn't select it by the console to make it to use the disable command to make it go away. So there's just this sort of floating little fence thing there, and then this one I couldn't scrap either, the one on the ground. And then here was another one. I didn't want to build a structure here, so I turned it into another bar / congregation area. This is the only one, sorry about the FPS, there's just a lot going on over here. This is the only one that doesn't have a lot of seating, but that's because I placed a lot of animation mats down here. So I didn't want to distract the settlers with too many places to sit, because these basically act like chairs. They compete for the settlers' attention. So I've got a coffee mat, a couple of hand-warming mats, a dancing mat, a coffee mat. So that should attract a lot of settler attention. And then over here, we've got the final house. It was a lot of effort to get all of these houses done, but I'm happy. Now, this is the only house that had shelving units that were not broken. All the other houses had shelving units that were broken, and so I put bookcases in them or found some other way to use them. But this one had whole bookshelves, or shelving units, so I decided to decorate them up. I've got stacked books, and of course the vases. I learned that from the Soul Survivor's house. A laid-out table. I didn't want to use this as a bar, because I already have one, so I'm using it just to store kitchen utensils and goodies. A TV station, and then a bedroom. Just a nicely laid out bedroom with fans and lights, and then here's another bathroom. Now this one did not come with a shower stall, so instead I put down a bathtub and a shower, a working shower on top of it. Now the mod that I used recently did an update that allows you to actually put in the entire shower stall, So I may swap that out later, but I'm actually pretty pleased with how that turned
Need
out.
to get back to Diamond City one of these
Oh,
days.
no, please don't. There
Biggest
you go.
town I ever saw.
In the middle here by this tree, which you can scrap if you want to, but... Oh, wait, no, you can't. What was the tree? I'm thinking of Covenant. Covenant has that giant tree that you can scrap. You can't scrap this one, and I wouldn't want to anyway because I like it. If you've got a nice big tree in the settlement, you need to keep it. I put some benches out here for them to sit. I'm not too pleased about these fake plants because it's outside. You don't need fake plants on the outside. Well, actually, maybe they're planted in a planter. I don't know. Maybe I'll remove them at some point, but I left them there for now. And so there you go. That is the bulk of the settlement. As you can see, each house is completely done. There are 4 different marketplaces to attract settler attention, to give them something to do. I've got provisioners going in and out of this settlement because as my very first settlement, this is where I sent all my provisioners from at the beginning. And now that it has 74 different settlers, I've got plenty of people to go on provisioner lines. This was before Automatron. Now that I've got Automatron, I made a robot's provisioner for each settlement. Anyway, there it is. The sun is setting. I started at 9 in the morning, so this is a long video. Here's Sturgis. I decided to keep all of the 5 that you get from Concord. I left them here in this settlement, except for Preston Garvey. He's guarding Coastal Cottage right now. But they're also here. The Wongs are here. I've got that guy who was on Nuka-Cola. I made him a farmer here. I forget his name. Sheffield. I made him a farmer here. And there you go. So the only thing left to show you is what this settlement looks like at night when the sun is set and the settlers are all doing their thing. So I'm going to show you that now. Alright, it's past 8, which means settlers are quitting their job for the day, and you can already see them going off in the distance to the closest bar. Hopefully this will work the way I intended. So this bar should attract settlers who were working in the houses closest to this bar. So hopefully this is it, and it won't attract any more.
Yeah.
And after a while, I found that the game takes a long time to figure out the logic. So it knows that there are, let's say, 10 different seats. Hey, it's my warming animation. Yay, he's using it. So the Wong guy is using the hand warming animation. The game knows that there are like 5 different or 10 different seats that the settler can interact with, but it takes a while to figure out where to put each settler. You can see that they sort of wait outside in a queue, waiting for one settler to go and sit down, then the next settler to go and sit down, then the next one to go and do an animation, which is just frustrating. It's just frustrating. I wish they would just, all go in and sit down, but that's sadly the way the game works. So it looks like this particular bar is attracting a lot of them. I find that each marketplace/restaurant will attract them at different times of the day. So look at them all bypass this one. You've got one, she's sitting down for a nice drink after work, but the rest are just congregating in the street and walking that way. They're walking south towards that other one, even though these were closer. And it doesn't make a lick of sense to me. I did my best to try and get it all worked out, but, with Bethesda games, you can't always predict what's going on. So even these guys, they were manning the shops here in this little marketplace, and the bartender's still there. Hey there, Ron Staples, you're still doing your thing. But everyone left, and instead they're going south to the other one. So the settlers will pick a random bar. If you have more than one bar, the settlers will pick a random one at the end of the day, and most of them will congregate by it. Every now and then you'll get 1 or 2 settlers that figure it out and go, oh, this one is closer to me. I'll go ahead and sit down on the stool and have a have a pint. And then others will just remain empty. So the only settlers assigned to shops who won't leave their station at the end of the day are the bartenders. For some reason, this corner is always really bad for FPS. I'm not sure why. Well, there you go. I'm proud of this settlement. It was a lot of work. I'm super excited to show it all to you. I'm pleased with how it turned out. It looks lived in. It looks like a real village. It's got 74 people in it. To put that in perspective, that's more than Diamond City, than all of the NPCs in Diamond City. The next biggest settlement I have is the castle, which is an efficiency settlement build I am working on. I'm really excited to get that done and to show it to you. Here's one thing I didn't show you. This one house has this nice walkway back here. with, and out here it's got this sort of brick platform, and on it I decided to create a little eating station with a fireplace and some hand warming animations. And they do use this fairly frequently, but they're not using it right now. Anyway, thank you all for watching. This was a long requested video. I hope I didn't disappoint you. Let me know in the comments what you thought about it, how you liked it, what you didn't like. Was there a missed opportunity where I could have made this 10 times better and I just completely overlooked it? Oh, look at that. Why are they all doing this? Why, guys? I have built you all amazing marketplaces with all this seating and you're just standing here. Man, talk about ungrateful settlers. I can't think about it. I'm just going over here. Alright, do what you want to do, guys. I'm not... Anyway, thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed this settlement build. Please subscribe. I've done almost every single settlement in the game. This was... there were 4 left to do. I finished this one. There are now 3 settlements left for me to do before Far Harbor drops, and then I can go on to the Far Harbor settlements. So please subscribe to see them all. I've got them organized in a playlist, and be sure to show up to my weekly show, Scotch and Smoke Rings, which airs every Thursday night at 7 o'clock p.m. Pacific Time on Twitch TV. Just Google Scotch and Smoke Rings and you'll find it. For those of you who want the mods that I used in this settlement build, I have them all dutifully listed in the description of this video. So please click on the link to my Google Doc in the description of this video so that you can see them all and leave some feedback. I'd love to hear what you think of my efficiency video for Sanctuary Hills. Thank you so much for watching.